Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the unversedpodcast. Danny here. Today, I'm with the boy Shelby, and we're less than a month away for the CW shows to come back. And today, we're going to be talking about that the newest trailer for season 4 of The Flash. And I don't know, man. It's not getting me hyped for the show. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, so I definitely think it's like the weakest trailer we've gotten, really, like, for any significant, whether it's like the start of a season or like mid-season coming back type of thing, or even like a special. Like, there's not really like anything going on here. It feels like the main kind of like narrative thing they're pushing here is to have Iris be, already I'm saying Iris, so like, I don't like it. Like, they have Iris kind of going back and forth on, I guess, like, if she wants Barry back. It seems to kind of be focusing on like her emotions with it, and then they've got like the issue of like, oh, we can't keep up protecting this city without Barry, so we've got to get Barry back, and then I guess Barry comes back and something is different with him, and that's kind of like all we really have going on based on the trailer. And even I kind of looked around to see some like released images and stuff, and not really anything beyond that either, from what I can tell, has been released. So I think the villain for the season is it the Thinker? Is that his name, or
I think it is the Thinker.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know much about him, but I know he's not a Speed Force guy, which, that should be pretty interesting, I think, on like what hopefully can be like a pretty clever foil for them. But then also, like, we've got the samurai guy, which I don't know, like, he just looks like a Power Rangers villain, and I guess we'll see what's up with that. Hopefully, I'm guessing it's not going to be like a big deal. He'll probably just be for a couple episodes and go away. But really, so anyways, back to your main question, feeling excited about this. The only thing that really makes me excited is the scene of Barry after he's already shaved. Like, he clearly looks really off, and he's like looking over, and you see the Speed Force shoot through his eyes. That part looks really cool, but beyond that, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, I'm looking for something more.
Yeah, man. I mean, this trailer and all the other trailers too really are heavy set on like, we need Barry back. Like, we can't do this without Barry, and that disappoints me because, like, we have Kid Flash, and, we even have Vibe doing some stuff out in the city.
Yeah, finally. He's like fully out in the field now.
Yeah, and, Kid Flash, he was doing pretty good season 3. Like, to the point where, like, yeah, Barry doesn't even need to go out there anymore.
Yeah.
And to say that, man, we can't handle, what seems to be, like, old villains, right? We have pretty much the Nightcrawler chick, and it just kind of, the trailers make it seem like they're not ready to take on a whole city by themselves, and that's the upsetting part, because it makes me think that, man, like, I think end of episode 1 or somewhere in episode 2, like, Barry's gonna come back already. It's the whole Flashpoint scenario again.
Yeah, and CW always seems to do this. Every time they have an opportunity to kind of shift focus off of the main character and do something a little bit like unconventional and a little bit more interesting, they always back out. I mean, I always kind of think back to when in season 3 of the Arrow, Oliver dies, and they totally could have had, when they came back from the mid-season, just like not have had him. They could have done the intro differently, and it would have been really interesting for them to kind of like sell us on, oh no, he's really dead, but instead, he's back immediately. And that's basically what they keep doing.
Yeah, it really sucks. And then, like you said too, plus having Iris be like a main focal point. Right? Like, it almost makes it seems like she's head of the team. Right.
We've got Joe asking basically her for permission to grieve. And I get it, because it's like, oh, it was her fiance, and all of that. But still, I don't know. Like, I thought the whole, that I was kind of looking forward to, okay, Iris isn't going to die, so at least we can be done with this plot and move on, and she'll just be part of the team in the background, whatever. but it seems like it's not really going to die down on the focus virus at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, hopefully they just work on her character. That's all I really care about.
Mm-hmm.
And so in other parts of the trailer, we see Caitlyn with a cold gun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of hazy, but didn't she just like leave the team, or did she stick around at the end of the season?
I mainly just remember her being like, "I'm no longer Caitlyn or Killer Frost. I'm someone in between," and I think she left. But so that's one of the only other things I kind of found when I was looking for content for season 4 was like some photos of her. She's working at a bar now, and she kind of dresses like a biker chick. And I just don't know why that's what they're doing at all. I don't know. Like, Killer Frost could be a pretty compelling character, I think. Caitlyn, they've always kind of had an issue trying to make her interesting. I think, I think they should have just left her how she was in season 1, but they've tried to make her interesting, and it always kind of falls flat, and now they're just, like, totally changing things up, and I'm just not on board with it, to be honest.
Yeah, no, they're trying to change her character so much to give her something substantial for the season, but I don't know.
Well, and this idea that, like, she has to, like, totally dress differently now, and, like, they're just, like, really pushing, like, look how different she is. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think they're focusing on the right characters right now. And then I mean, I think Cisco is going to have more of a focus now. But I would like to see, if anything, like, let's bring Gypsy in as more of a character, right? And then have them two be kind of the secondary to Barry being a main character. I think that would be really the best thing they could do. And then, of course, whatever is going to happen with HR or like whatever Wells we have this season, because isn't he coming back again for some other version or something?
Yeah, they're bringing him back for a different version.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, they've done a good enough job, I think, keeping it fresh. But at the same time, hopefully they don't just like overdo it this time.
Yeah, so it's interesting with HR, right? It was mentioned that they gave him a funeral.
Right.
Which I think is a pretty good. I hope we see that.
Yeah,
like in a flashback or something.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the interesting thing is like, oh no, they haven't given Barry a funeral yet. And of course I was like, well, we don't know if he's dead or not.
Well, that was the thing that really like kind of bugged me. It was like, well, we know he's not dead. They're like, oh, is he alive? Is he not alive? And I'm like, well, we know he's like alive. Like maybe in a different sense, but like his consciousness isn't like gone. Like he's just in the Speed Force. And we've seen other people come out of the Speed Force and be able to like fully be alive and everything. So he's like definitely not dead. I feel like a funeral is a little like premature. And I don't know. I mean, even if he never came out of the Speed Force in their lifetime, he wouldn't really be dead. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm just kind of bummed that like I like the idea of them trying to get Barry back with the speed cannon and everything, but I want them to fail for like several episodes before getting him back. But it seems like, from what I can tell, I think they probably fail initially in this episode, but then he comes back probably right before the end of the episode. And it looks like, there's that scene with him, like in front of the truck where I guess he's like naked, because he just came out of the Speed Force or something.
Yeah, very Terminator.
Yeah, exactly. Which is also kind of weird though, because no one else is naked when they come out of the Speed Force. So maybe it's like, I don't know, the way that he comes out is going to be like unique.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And yeah, I completely agree. I really wish that it would be later in the season. But you know what? They kind of need him for the crossover. And, I mean, come on, the first trailer that we got for season 4, at the end of it was seeing Barry come out of the Speed Force, or like he's just running already.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't really know entirely like where they're going with this, or really if I'm excited about it, I guess is the main thing. Season 3 on the whole, I gotta say, was definitely the worst season. It was like the least focused season. Season, I don't know, how do you rank them? I think maybe season 1 is still the best.
Yeah, I'd say either season 1 and 2 are
both good.
I think always going to be at the top for me.
Yeah, they're definitely both good.
Yeah, and then season 3, and then like so far just season 4, because I don't know, it doesn't bring anything different for me compared to the other seasons so far. I mean it is, but none of it is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing really to get hyped on. Hopefully we'll get another trailer that focuses on the Thinker, maybe, and that'll be more interesting. And I don't know, what do you think of his beard? I guess that's like another thing we can talk about.
I guess it's just to show the time lapse, and I mean it's kind of cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool to see him with a beard. I would like to see, I don't know, whenever characters get like a visually different look like that, I want to see them like keep it a little bit longer, and especially in this case, like whenever he or Oliver make like a significant look or visual change like that, it would be cool to see them interact. Really, if there's one thing that like I wish would happen more in this universe, is just having Oliver and Barry interact more.
Oh yeah. I do think that Barry's actually going to keep the beard for a while.
I hope so.
Because I think the first thing they're going to do once Barry's back is to pretty much fix Barry. Because I think them forcing him out of the Speed Force is, what causes the Speed Force to fly through his eye, right? Is that it's not really Barry, like 100%. So they're gonna have to figure that out, and yeah, pretty much deal with that and the samurai at the same time.
Right. So the only interesting theory that I've also found so far about this season is basically saying that the person that comes out isn't actually Barry, and I think for sure that something is up with Barry. Like, maybe it's going to be that not all of Barry came out of the Speed Force, like, part of him is still there because someone has to be there. Maybe it's like, maybe part of the Speed Force, like, manifest as a person is in Barry or something. I don't know. I think something's going on where they're going to be like, Barry doesn't seem right, and they're going to have to solve that as an issue for the first few episodes. But, like, the one theory that I saw about that is someone saying that it's actually Eobard Thawne somehow, or like a younger version of him or something, and I don't know if I like that. I mean, I feel like that's an interesting idea, and it could be really cool, I think, but I also don't know. For one thing, if we want to keep going back to Eobard Thawne, and also just if it would actually end up being like all that good of a plot.
Yeah, I mean it's tough with Eobard, right? Because he's dead. Right, he died off in season 1. He became a time remnant, and then the time remnant died in Legends of Tomorrow. So yeah, all you really have is just Reverse Flash stuck in time. Eventually, he's gonna go back to the present, and they're gonna fight it out. But it'd be interesting to see. I guess see that. But see, that would mean that Eobard was stuck in the Speed Force this whole time, too, right?
Right. But that's also the thing that they've done with him, is it feels like they've taken him and injected him into so many different points in time that, like, he could kind of show up whenever, and they would just be like, oh, this is him from, like, such and such time. Which
is a cool concept for Reverse Flash, right? Like, no matter what you do, he'll always be Barry's rival.
Yeah.
That's the good part, they're keeping consistency with that. So yeah, I'm like, there's no doubt he's gonna come back this season. But see, my thing is, it's cool we got the Thinker, right? And we have the Samurai. Because they're non-speedsters for villains, but I feel like, cause the Thinker, I don't know, like he's could also possibly be controlling Barry, right? Like that's a theory I've been seeing around. And so that makes Barry, you know, the speedster villain for the season. But of course, like that means Barry has to be the bad guy for more than 2 or 3 episodes.
I would totally love that, actually. Because it would give us, you know, a lot of things that we want here, where we kind of want Barry to stay away because we want to be able to focus on these other characters, right? And see how they kind of do on their own and kind of shift things a little bit. And then also, like, we want a different villain situation. So that would be cool.
No, yeah, I think it'd be great too. Cause like it'll really test the team at that point. And that's what I really want to see is Kid Flash and, you know, especially Vibe actually do what we feel like they should be doing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the rest of the trailer go, I mean, it's just standard CW Flash stuff. And, you know, yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. I'm just not, I guess I'm not looking forward to it as much as I am for Arrow, for sure.
You know, I actually haven't even seen the Arrow stuff, I don't think. I don't think so, but I wouldn't be surprised because Arrow definitely ended up being the better season last season.
Yeah. And it's crazy too, because Arrow's going in a direction I didn't think they were going for, as far as, characters. Like, it seems like there's gonna be a lot of
characters?
Deathstroke this season.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, and he's gonna help him find his son, isn't that right?
Well, no, he already has his son. I think he's there to help him with either finding the team or something. Or fighting the main villain for season 6. I'm not sure.
Who is gonna be the main villain on that?
Man, I don't even think we've seen.
Is it still Vigilante? Is he gonna be?
I know Vigilante's still gonna be there, yeah.
But maybe not as a main villain.
Yeah, maybe not. Which is sad because I think Vigilante should be more.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Richard Dragon is the villain for season 6.
Who's that guy?
He's, from what I saw, he's basically Iron Fist.
Oh, okay. So how do you feel about that?
I'm hopeful because that's like, if it sounds like they're gonna be doing, like magic again, but with a different twist to it, so hopefully it's a better improvement than season 4. And oh yeah, this just sounds like Iron Fist.
So wait, why exactly is he like Iron Fist?
Well, he's like a martial artist, and even like his background's kind of similar. Like his dad died in a plane crash. It seems that he. And plus,
so they're doing
like,
it.
Martial artist, blonde hair, simple stuff.
And I guess like with his dad died and everything, they're doing a thing where he's similar to Oliver because of that.
Yeah, so I want to see the dynamic between there. I would like a mix of that in this character, right? Give him a little Prometheus in there.
Yeah.
With the mind games.
Yeah. That would be good to see. Prometheus really ended up being a great character.
But yeah, I mean, this guy just seems like just a normal, martial artist with, he's got a thing called the Dragon's Claw, which is a mystic artifact that collects, energy when he needs it.
That's pretty cool.
Okay. Well, yeah, and plus, Arrow's got me, more interested because they're gonna, seen, articles, they were like, yeah, they're gonna slowly reveal who didn't survive,
right.
at the end of season 5. And I was like, oh man.
Yeah. Who do you think didn't survive?
I would say John. I would say John
really?
Diggle. I would think they would do that approach.
That's crazy.
Cause I know we have confirmed that, Wild Dog and Black Canary are for season 6. So I don't think they're gonna be dead.
That's right.
I'm
really bummed about the Black Canary thing, I gotta say. I don't want to see that.
Oh, the new suit? Her wearing the new suit, or?
No, just her being like a new, such a focus. Her as a character.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, not. I mean
Black Siren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
the Black Canary I'm fine with.
Yeah, I feel like they should have made Black Canary and Black Siren's fight bigger last season.
Mm-hmm.
And then that would have been the definite end of her character being involved in the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I guess, yeah, she's still coming back for season 6. But I mean, anybody else on the island, that was, it was William's mother, John Diggle, and Felicity. And like, out of the 3, I would have to say, I think John Diggle would be the one they pick.
Yeah, I guess so. And he really hasn't been doing a ton this season either. Or this last season. He just kind of like had a couple great moments, but mostly was kind of in the background.
Yeah. And plus, I think Diggle would be the most impactful on Barry. Right? Or I'm not on Barry, on Oliver.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, that would really, I'd hate to see that. Man. But I mean, it's good because it's, for the storytelling, but their relationship is definitely like one of my favorites in the show. The way that Diggle can kind of like be his brother and kind of like rein him in a really significant way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it would suck to see him, but I think that's the choice, right? Because I don't know if they don't want to kill Felicity off.
Of course, yeah, they don't, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They're just like never going to do it.
And like William's mother, I don't think they would even consider it either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know she's kind of a throwaway character anyways, right? Like, I don't really see her being significant for the plot, but it's like, oh, that's the thing. It's just like, oh, how come she survived but Diggle didn't?
Mm-hmm.
And then that would bring out more dynamic to the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, the CW is shaping up weirdly this time around.
Yeah, it is. Because what else? We still have Legends going on, right?
Yeah, Legends is being Legends in the worst way.
Yep.
I don't know, I forgot, they said they're gonna add a new hero, like, is showing up in Legends, but I'm not even interested in seeing the character in season 3.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, how can you even get invested in it, I feel.
Yeah, because honestly, I get it, like, season 2 was cool, or like, okay, what do? It's a time traveling show. Okay, we have to, save reality, and now you have to fix time. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, that's a stretch for me. I would have been fine if they just kept doing what they were doing in the beginning of season 2. Yeah.
So I just kind of pulled it up real quick. The new character that they're adding is Adriana Tomaz. I guess her name is also Isis, although I'm guessing they're not going to use that name in the show. She's like an Egyptian goddess, basically.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it right here.
Yeah. See if it has her powers listed.
Also, plus they said that Damien Dark's coming back.
Yeah, of course he is.
You know, and it's like, why again? Like, they have to go back in time again to where he was alive?
You know, it's really crazy, and I don't know, you know, maybe it's possible that somehow DC is tying their hands and just not letting them do a lot. But these, like in the lore of DC, there's so many characters and stories and villains and teams and everything they could be pulling from to do Legends of Tomorrow. But instead, they just keep going back to the same content that CW has already done.
Yeah, and that's the disappointing part. Yeah, because the only new characters that they really showed were heroes, right? Like Jonah Hex and the Justice Society, you know, and they just... And
the writing of the show is just so bad is the other thing. It's like Jonah Hex is a pretty interesting character. It's cool that they had him. It would have even been cool to have him on the team because he's so different from a lot of the other team already, which really, like, a lot of the team members are really similar in the way that they write them. Like, they kind of all make similar jokes and kind of have similar attitudes. And it's only sometimes when they want to make, like, a point where they kind of make two characters be opposing for some reason. But, like, the writing is just so bad. We've talked about in the past that, like, they don't have character development, really. Like, they'll do something, and then they'll forget about that, basically. And most of the time, the characters are just kind of doing the same thing every episode, but just, like, relevant to whatever time period they're in. But they're making, like, Sarah's always like, oh, yeah, I'm a woman. I know you didn't think a woman could be this cool or lead a team, but she can. Just letting you know. And it's like, yeah, no, we get it. It's fine. Like, it's 2 seasons now. We're good. And she was never like that on Arrow, like, at all.
No, yeah, that's the thing. It's that they grab these characters from their shows and they kind of change them up, you know. I mean, I feel like Jax and Stein are fine, right? I feel like they've stayed the same when they left Flash.
They're pretty good.
But yeah, dude, like, Sarah and the Atom, like, they've both changed. Drastically.
Yeah, Adam especially, he was a great character, and he's just, like, always just, like, a dorky joke most of the time now. Yeah, and even, like, I even feel like to some extent, like, they do kind of the same bits with Jax and Stein, like, not together, but separately. Whenever they do time travel stuff in the past, they're always like, oh, young Stein was such a jerk, and then it's always like, oh, look, like, not to go to this, you know, but, like, they go to it a lot, is to just be like Jax being like, oh, look, I'm black, and we're in the past, and they just draw attention to that stuff so frequently that I feel like it loses the weight. Like, you do it once, and you're like, oh, wow, that can be pretty impactful, but it's like, same thing with Sarah, they always draw attention to it, to the point where you're like, okay, so, like, is that like all that there is to this character and like the story you guys want to tell? That just like, oh, look, you thought that I wasn't good enough, but I am. It's like, all right, let's move on.
Yeah, it's the safe route, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
it's writers.
It's the safe route, and it's just kind of like the I don't know, just kind of like I don't know, just like a easy appeal to like just like appealing to people's emotions instead of being like, let's do something interesting with these characters. Like, one thing that I do remember liking was there was that episode where his name's Roy, right? Heatwave? Or am I mixing up names?
Mick.
Mick, yeah. Mick, I was Rory.
Rory.
That's why I was thinking. Yeah, I was thinking. Okay, Mick, Rory, and the Atom and Ray were bonding over in the Soviet Union episode. That episode, I thought, and I think it was a 2-parter. I thought, like, all around, that's like one of the best episodes they've done. And they had a lot of great, like, really interesting character dynamics, and you saw, like, a lot of character development, I thought, even though I don't really feel like they carried it over to the other episodes.
No, they didn't. I mean, they brought it back, right? I remember Ray brought it up at one point, and it was like for some situation, and Mick kind of just like brushed it off. He's like, "Oh, that doesn't matter right now."
Right. That's right. Yeah, which is really disappointing to see them do. That they actually acknowledge it, and then they just kind of like, "Oh, not really."
Yeah, but, and it sucks, and it's just like with season 2, right? The samurai episode, I think, was one of the best out of that season, right? With Ray, he got so much character development.
Yeah, exactly. That was an excellent episode, and yeah, it just didn't seem to really carry on past that episode. Let me mention this too. Kind of, I just pulled this up. That character, Adriana Tomaz, who's going to be the new Legends character. She is apparently a member of like the Shazam family.
Oh.
Yeah. So, see, that's kind of a bummer thing, too, where it's like, okay, so you guys are actually going to pull from Shazam, but not actually do Shazam. And I get it, like, maybe they can't because they're doing the movie. I get that. But it's just kind of too bad. It's almost like the feeling of seeing the Inhumans on TV where you're like, oh, so you guys are just going to do, like, a weaker version of this on TV and let the movies, like, do whatever they're really going to do or maybe even not do it.
Yeah, I was just listening to the Robot Lab podcast, and they were talking about that because they're pulling Deathstroke out of Batman for the solo film. And,
yeah.
They're thinking like, oh, because he's showing up in season 6 of Arrow. So they're like, they don't want that confliction, right? That's why they got rid of Suicide Squad in Arrow. And that's why they don't mention pretty much the big heroes.
Just like to do a quick DCEU talk, the craziest thing about that is, I mean, that movie, that standalone Batman movie, isn't even going to have Ben Affleck, right? Isn't that what we found out?
No, I think it is, but at this point, I think they said it's not even going to be connected to the DCEU.
Okay, because see, I keep seeing weird things like that. Like, I saw that it's supposed to be completely separate, like, plot-wise and everything. Well, it's like, well, one, why? That seems like such a bizarre thing to do. And if they were going to do that, are they going to do it like how they do the animated movies, where like they're all just kind of on their own. Sometimes they make them connected, other times they're just telling separate stories, which I always thought was a good way to do it. But if they're going to keep using Ben Affleck, then why is it not connected?
Yeah, that's excuse me, that's the thing about it. I don't know. I mean, I like the idea of it being like the animated movies. So that way they have like more free reign and not really focus on the rush to catch up to Marvel, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, DCU is just, it's up and down every day. It's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Legends, like, I don't know, like that's my least hype show for sure. Like, I don't even want to review it. Because of, like, I just think of how big of a mess it's gonna be. And plus, like, there's gonna be the crossover again this year on all 4 shows. So it's like, okay, they're gonna have to, like, figure out how to whip up the plot to where they can actually go back to the normal timeline to do this crossover and then come back and then just finish the season. And I feel like it's just gonna be like last thing. They're like, hey, we got a distress call. We have to go back. So, with Legends, it's like, it's cool to see that we're getting a lot more, DC characters in the universe, but when you have a show that's dealing with time travel and, like the things they're gonna have to do to fix time, it's just like, yeah, we're probably never gonna see these heroes again.
Yeah.
Aside from the crossovers.
Right. Yeah. And that's too bad. See, I think we said before, I would rather just, like, see the crossover not have all of the shows then, if they're not gonna really commit. Just have it be, or even just do more crossovers, like maybe you do one with Legends and The Flash, and then you do, whatever, like just do a couple of smaller ones instead of, like, one big one that, just kind of overall disappoints.
Yeah, it was like last year's, when Supergirl was joining the team, I was just like, oh snap, like we're gonna see, some Supergirl characters, but we only saw Kara show up, and sure it was
even
cool.
That was, could have been better.
That could have been better for sure because she was barely in it, and it was cool to see everyone else show up for the musical crossovers, just the interaction parts of that episode. But yeah, like if they don't get more involved, then I don't really think Supergirl needs to join the crossover.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, plus like the season 3 trailer for Supergirl too. Might as well talk about that. It's different. Like, I don't know, like Kara's going like a darker path. Like she's getting more serious now because of the whole, finale situation with Mon-El, and I'm like, that's a little overreaction, I think. She's just like, oh, what's the point or whatever, because, he's gone out of my life. It looks interesting. Like I'm getting like a Man of Steel kind of vibe off of Kara from the trailer. So
yeah.
There's that hope for what she's gonna bring.
It definitely feels like sometimes with these shows, like they'll make a bad decision, and instead of kind of like calming down and like going back and like fixing it, and like correcting the course of the show, they just kind of like keep going forward and don't want to look back or admit that they made a mistake. And really the only time I feel like they have is with Arrow. They had 2 pretty bad seasons, and then they turned around and like made season 5, made it really good.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the DCCW this time around just has me not really looking forward to the whole situation. I mean, I'm gonna watch all the shows, but to stay caught up with the shows, that's an iffy for me on all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably still stick to my 2, stick to Arrow and Flash, and I might catch an episode of Supergirl here or there, but I don't think I'll end up watching all of it. And really doubtful that I'll go back to Legends at all, unless something, I don't know, like, unless like you watch it and you tell me that it's pretty good, and then maybe I'll check it out. But yeah, even that show I think has like totally lost me.
Yeah, it's a sad thing to see, and it could be that the universe is getting too big, and they don't really have enough writers pretty much to keep everything how they want it, I would say.
Yeah.
Because like, all the Legend stuff, we never got that in Arrow or Flash, so them expanding with those kind of writers is gonna be worrisome.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely is. And then, well, they've got that other show coming out that isn't connected to the universe.
Oh, yeah, Black Lightning's coming out. Yeah, that's not connected, just like Supergirl. So.
But is it, I wonder if it's some of the same creative people involved, which would just mean, like you said, like, they're getting spread too thin, and they can't really get a handle on everything.
Yeah, that's the worrisome too. Like, yeah, like, seeing the trailer, I'm like, it looks alright. It's definitely interesting to see a retired superhero come back. But yeah, I don't know, like, I'm getting those similar vibes where I'm like, man, they're kind of going a safe, different approach than what they've done on their main 2 shows.
Yeah. Yeah, it almost feels like, with like the MCU back in Phase 1 when we had, Iron Man and Incredible Hulk come out, and those were like pretty interesting, and then they played it safe big time with Captain America First Avenger and Thor 1. Like, they were just really simple, really safe movies and didn't branch out too much, didn't do anything weird. They were just kind of playing it safe until they got to Avengers. And the only problem here is, what are they playing it safe for? Where are we going with this? And even, I think, to some extent, Season 3 of The Flash was playing it safe. And I don't know, I feel like with the Flash, they kind of set up early on that like there is a certain point when the Flash, there's going to be the Flash Museum, and he's going to be like a really big deal. And I felt like they were doing a good job at building up that character and the lore, and then they kind of dropped off the map with that whole idea last season.
Yeah, I guess they're just worried of drastic changes like that on the show, which I don't think they should be. You know, I think we're at the point where the main audience, right, like people like us who are dedicated to the CW universe, would be fine with just them really changing it up here and there, you know?
Yeah, I mean, even as something as simple as like, has Barry's outfit really changed that much over the seasons? You know, and he's getting a new suit now, which I think is just the future suit that we saw last season, which is cool and I like, but I don't know. I feel like we could use a major overhaul at some point. You know, I feel like, especially for the Flash, I feel like Oliver could probably just stay with the same stuff for a while, but Barry should be the type of character where his is getting upgraded all the time.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Because it's just like, oh, Barry's getting faster. We got to make adjustments on the suit. Like, let's just change. We got to change it up. He's getting too fast, you know, or like even like using different, like attacks and methods can, we can just amplify it with using the suit, you know, just change the suit up to where, it complements Barry to the fullest.
Yeah.
And that's all they really need to do. Is just pretty much that.
Yep. Yeah, definitely agree.
But yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this episode. I mean, sure, there's that Gotham stuff, but, I mean, I'm not even watching that. I don't know about you.
No, I don't watch Gotham at all. I don't think I could keep up with it. I never really enjoyed it, to be honest, and everything I see from it just seems like they are, you know, anytime they do something kind of cool, it seems like an extremely watered down version of what they could be doing, so, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the episode. You know, a lot of stuff going on for the CW, so we're gonna see where that leads, and especially what this crossover is. Hopefully, it's more impactful than last year's. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. Shelby, always good to have you on the show. And, where can we find you outside of this episode?
You can find me on Instagram at VegetaX6, and I actually have a new podcast that I'm doing now called SS Radio, with my girlfriend, where we talk about, at this point, just kind of various things from week to week. No, nothing really set in stone, but the first episode we did, we talked about the new show, The Orville, that's like a Star Trek parody, and just kind of a lot of Star Trek related things, and Star Wars, that episode. So, that's where I'm podcasting these days, and, I might pop up again, here and there on like Marvel Talk.
Right on, right on. And of course, links in the description as always, guys. Be sure to check out the new podcast. For sure. Remember, I'm always at Negator7. Everywhere on social media, you could follow us at unversedpodcast, or you could also email us at unversedpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, we will talk to you guys next time.